Don't you just love seeing my name and my picture destroyed on the screen every evening before I come on? Welcome to Emergency Management Associates. My name is Ron Tyler. We're coming to you from the Area Command, 392 miles west of Kitty Hawk Beach, North Carolina. We want to welcome everybody here. I see my dear friend over there in Albuquerque, New Mexico, was the first one to put up a thumbs up. For that, we appreciate very much. God bless you all for being here. We have had technical issues all night long trying to get in and do this broadcast since before even 6 p.m. We have had intermittent internet problems all afternoon long, literally. So we're coming on late. It's already after 10 p.m. Eastern Time. We're only going to be brief here for a few minutes. I first want to take you over to the world map over on the USGS. I'm only going to be here for a very few minutes here on the USGS map. I want to show you some earthquakes. Okay? I want to show you some earthquakes that have been happening here. The first one I want to show you is a very large earthquake, very strong earthquake up here in the Kamchatka Peninsula. This was a 6.8 magnitude earthquake that was downgraded to a 6.5 today. Mary Greeley talked about it being very damaging and could be leveling homes and everything else. That's a possibility if it had been in an area with homes or businesses or any kind of buildings at all. This was in an unoccupied area. Let me briefly show you where it is. Okay? This is not even a farm field. Yes, there are a few roads here, but that's all. Okay? That's all. There's nobody here. Not at all. There's nobody even close to being here. Okay? This was a 6.5 earthquake earlier today. Okay? Or late last night anyway. This, folks, is bad news. Okay? This means that kind of energy exists this far north on the western side of the Pacific. This only means that it's going to spread through the Aleutian Islands next and over into Alaska. Okay? This energy is going to spread north and east into Alaska through the Aleutian Islands. So we're going to expect at least some 6s or even some 7s to happen over in the Aleutian Island chain and up into Anchorage in that area. If it doesn't go that way, it'll go over into the Gulf of Alaska and come completely around. Okay? Could be into the Pacific Northwest. Okay? That's why we're talking about it tonight. This is a big deal. We're going to be watching this seismic energy as it makes its way around. Now look at this. I purposely wanted to show you this tonight. Look at this volcano. Okay? Kleochevskoy volcano. Okay? That's a big deal. Kleochevskoy in the past has been erupting. It's not erupting right now. It has in the past, but it's not erupting right now. This whole Kamchatka Peninsula is full of volcanoes. It's absolutely full of volcanoes. This is down south. Okay? Fortunately for us and Russia, that was down south in the Kamchatka Peninsula. Very few people are even living here along the Kamchatka Peninsula. Okay? Look at this. More volcanoes up here as well. Volcanoes are all over the Kamchatka Peninsula, guys. We have had a lot of volcanoes erupting. 5 different volcanoes have erupted here in the Kamchatka Peninsula in the past 4 years. One of them was Shiveluch volcano. It erupted up to 85,000 feet high. 85,000 feet high in the stratosphere. Okay? That was right up in here. Okay? Right up in here. Okay? I fully expect that to happen again. So far, Shiveluch volcano has not been erupting too much. It's had some 18 and 19,000 foot eruptions, but the biggest one a couple years ago was 85,000 feet high. We were the first to report it. USGS and everybody else denied it, and guess what? They end up giving us apologies because they came out and slapped us around for a while, about 2 days, until they realized, hey, we were wrong. Okay? Unreal. Anyway, folks, a very strong earthquake. 6.8 hit up in the Kamchatka Peninsula. They downgraded it to a 6.5. Over here in Indonesia, okay, in Indonesia, this is Sumatra, Indonesia. It's on the western coast of Sumatra, okay, just barely offshore. 72 kilometers southwest of Padang's, I know I'm going to mess this up, Padang Sidempuan. Padang Sidempuan, okay? Yes, I can't speak Indonesian, but this is where this earthquake was. This was also a 6.4. They downgraded it to a 6.1. Okay? It could have been a very damaging earthquake had it hit land, but some of the seismic energy was directed into the ocean. Okay? This was only 84.5 kilometers deep. Folks, this was a fairly shallow earthquake. It was a fairly shallow earthquake. Yes, there are people living in this area here along the coast. These people felt probably a good 5.5 or greater earthquake. Okay? Just along the coast here. Okay? We're going to see some damage reports coming from this earthquake. It's very close to shore. Let's move along here. Over here, this is in what they call the Owens Valley area. The Owens, actually not Valley, the Owens Fracture area. Okay? This is just south of Saudi Arabia. This is a 5.3 magnitude earthquake. 5.3 magnitude earthquake. Right now, this could go into Saudi Arabia. It could also go into Iran. That's what I fully expect it to do. I expect it to travel to Iran and then in southern Iran to see a 5.0 earthquake. Just north of there in southern Iran, today we have a moderate 4.3 that is a 10.0 kilometer depth, 6.2 miles deep. Not a big deal. You can see it's on the earthquake fault area in that region. Okay? Earthquake fault area in that region. Now, the other thing I just briefly want to talk about, USGS is giving this earthquake in Turkey moderate earthquake rating. Folks, there are over 100 earthquakes just here in this Turkish area. Okay? It's incredible. This place is shaking. 4.3s to 5.2s all over this area. It's still shaking. It's been a month. It's been a month since the 8.5, 9.0 earthquake happened. They tried to put it off as a 6.8. It was nowhere near there. It was an 8.5, 9.0 earthquake. Major damage, thousands of people killed now, and thousands of people injured. Okay? They can't dig their way out because the earth is still shaking. Okay? Over 100 earthquakes there today. USGS shows 1. Incredible. Incredible. Talk about lying. Look at the rest of Europe. Nothing being said about the rest of Europe. Italy. Italy had over 20 earthquakes there today. 20 earthquakes. Over here in Greece, going further east over here in Greece, Greece had about 20 earthquakes. Okay? It's incredible that they will not even talk about it. Okay? Going over here into Spain, Spain had a few earthquakes just south of Spain. Over here near the Strait of Gibraltar, just east of the Strait of Gibraltar, we had 5 earthquakes here, and another 5 over here, and a couple over here in the Canary Islands as well. Okay? Incredible. They don't say a darn thing about it. They don't say a darn thing about it. Down here in the southern Atlantic Ocean in the South Sandwich Islands, we have another 5.1 large earthquake down here. Okay? A 5.1 in the South Sandwich Islands. We're surely going to see a 5.0, even a 4.5 going up the Mid-Atlantic Ridge here. Okay? That's what's happening. Going over into Bolivia. Okay? Not to say Chile hasn't had any earthquakes, because they have. USGS is not saying that. There's over 20 earthquakes in Chile today. USGS talking about a 5.1 over in the border region between Chile and Bolivia. In the border region, in the Andes Mountains. Okay? This is in the Andes Mountains. Fortunately for anybody, there's very few people living in the Andes Mountains, whether it's the west or the east side. Most people will be living down here in the Pampas region of Bolivia and Argentina, meaning agricultural and farmer area. Okay? That's where people live. Up here in the Andes Mountains, not many people live here, but maybe some ancient Indians. Okay? Ancient Indians with ancestors going back to the Maya and the Inca Indians. Okay? Very few people live in this region. A 5.1 earthquake here. This, folks, was moderately deep, 233 kilometers deep. Okay? This probably will have a recompense, in other words, a larger earthquake from this, but it's not going to be much. Maybe a 5.4, 5.5 magnitude earthquake will result as a result of this 5.1 earthquake. Okay? Not too much of a big deal. Okay? Going up here, this is Peru. This is a moderate 4.2 magnitude earthquake. This is 98 kilometers deep. Not a real big deal either. Relatively shallow quake, a 4.2 moderate earthquake. There are other earthquakes here as well. Peru, going up here into Colombia. But again, the agency doesn't want to talk about it. Going up here into Central America, just off the coast of Nicaragua and El Salvador today, we have a 5.0 earthquake. This is 135 kilometers south of La Libertad, San Salvador. Okay? Not a big deal. It happened over here on the Cocos Plate. Not too much of a big deal. The ocean waters of the Pacific here absorbed this shock of this quake. Not a big deal. 115 kilometers offshore, probably close to 90 miles offshore. Okay? They're not showing any earthquakes here in southern Mexico. There are. There are about 25 earthquakes down here in southern Mexico. There are a few over here in Guatemala as well. Going further north, okay? Further north. And I'm going to talk quite a bit about earthquakes here in Southern California tomorrow. Okay, I'm going to make up for tonight by talking about earthquakes in Southern California tomorrow. There are a lot. There are a lot. I'm going to specifically show you a history of major earthquakes here in Southern California, ranging from very strong 6.0s all the way up to 8.0 magnitude earthquakes in California. Tomorrow is a good day to talk about it. Look at all these earthquakes here. Okay? Over in Borrego Springs, we have a 1.4 tremor. Did you know back about 40 years ago there was a 6.4 magnitude earthquake here in Borrego? Incredible. There was. Going further north, this is Anza, California. There were 5s here. 5.0s here. Going further north and west over here into San Diego County again, Remember this place, Palomar Observatory, last week, where we had a 4.5 magnitude earthquake here, moderate earthquake here at Palomar Observatory last week. Today we have a 1.3 tremor. 1.3 tremor there, and also another one here. Let me enlarge this so you can see it. Right near Palomar Observatory here, we have a 0.6 microquake. This is on the Elsinore Fault here. You notice that red line coming from the north? That is the Elsinore Fault. That's what's causing these earthquakes here. Over towards the Salton Sea, just west of the Salton Sea, this is the Chocolate Mountains. This involves the San Jacinto Fault. Going further east, just east of the Salton Sea, this is the San Andreas Fault. San Andreas Fault. There have been numerous earthquakes down here in the Imperial Valley and just south into Mexico. We're going to talk about several 7.1, 7.2s that happened here within the last 40 years. Okay? Big deal. Great big deal. Further east into Thermal, northeast of the Salton Sea, Thermal, California, had a 1.0 tremor. Going further north here, Thousand Palms. Thousand Palms, a 0.9 microquake. But that's not all. There's a lot more quakes and tremors throughout this whole area. They're just not showing it. I don't understand how they cannot show what is really going on. Okay? Let's go further north. This is Banning, California. This is a this is a 1.2 minor tremor. Calamasa, a resort here in California, a 1.7 tremor there. Going north into the Redlands, a 1.6, not a big deal. But this one here, this is a 1.3 tremor over here in Newport Beach, California. A 1.3 tremor in Newport Beach, California. Somebody was Skyping me. Sorry, I'm not available. And it's none of you. I'm sorry. It was someone else I don't even know. Wrightwood, California, up here on the San Andreas Fault. This is a 1.5 here. Just south of there, 1.7. Okay? I'm going north, yes. I want to show you what is really going on today. Okay? Going out into the desert. Okay? This is just north of the Garlock Fault. This is east of Arbon, California. This is a 3.1. Down here, right on top of the Garlock, is a 1.2. We go further north and east over here. This, folks, is a 1.5. This is in Bonefish, California. Bonefish, California is a great big huge volcanic area. A huge volcanic field over here in Bonefish. That is why they've been having so many tremors and earthquakes around Bonefish today. USGS is not reporting anything over in Ridgecrest and Searles Valley. There are tremors and earthquakes happening there. They're just not showing them. Okay, let's go over into Northern California. Just southeast of Monterey Bay, we have a 1.8 tremor again here in Tres Pinos, right on top of the San Andreas Fault. Tres Pinos is continually getting hit with tremors. What does that mean? What does it mean when there's swarms of tremors hitting this area like there is? It means this area is going to get hit by a larger earthquake. That's why I'm going to discuss this tomorrow. This whole area has been pelted by 6.4, 6.5, 7.1 earthquakes. Okay? This is on the San Andreas Fault. Just north of there, this is Interlochen, California. Interlochen, California, 1.8. We don't hear of too many earthquakes here in Interlochen, California, but there are. There are. Okay, let's go further north, just east of the San Francisco Bay Area. This is Brentwood, California. a 1.8 tremor there. Over here in the North San Francisco Bay Area, let me zoom in on it. Okay, look where it's at. Look where it's at. I'm zooming in here so you can see it. Guess what this is? It's a great big quarry. Yes, they're blowing things up here. Okay? This is a 1.3 explosion, a quarry blast here just about 3.5 miles east of Santa Venetia, California. Over here in this quarry, it's on the edge, it's literally on the edge of the San Francisco Bay, which is one thing I don't understand. This area could collapse and flood. This area could collapse and flood because what is there over here? The San Francisco Bay Area. Okay? Unreal. And yet they're blowing things up there. This is not the first time. This is like the third time that I know of in the last year and a half over here in the North San Francisco Bay Area. Okay? Going further north here. This is what I love to call the geysers. This is Sonoma, California. This is a geysers area. It's a geothermal facility here, an electrical facility. Every one of these earthquakes, most of these tremors, have been hitting here because man has drilled into the upper magma chambers of a volcano. This volcano right here. It's called Clear Lake. It's a volcano, folks. They drilled into the upper magma chambers of this volcano to retrieve steam to power some 80 turbines all over the geysers area. There's 80 different turbines all over the geysers area. This earthquake just hit, it's a 1.1 tremor. A 1.1 tremor here in the geysers. Okay? Look here what I found. I just saw this. It's one of the turbine facilities. There's 10 different turbines right here. Turbines are all over this area. Some places they have 2 banks of turbines, meaning 20 turbines in one area. Others, they're all spread out all over the mountains of Sonoma, California. This is wine country. Just outside of the geysers area are grape groves all over the place. Grapevines everywhere. The geysers, it's a fenced-in facility. A fenced-in facility. Okay? But that's what's going on here in the geysers. Usually this area has at least 20 earthquakes and tremors. That's exactly what this area is doing today. Okay? So let's go north. Let's go have some fun here. Okay? We're going north into Pillsbury, California, a 1.8 tremor. Okay? Why am I going here? Tomorrow I'm going to show you the earthquake capability here in the Ferndale and Petrolia area. I'm going to show you 7.2 and 7.4 earthquakes that have been here during the last 15 to 20 years. Okay? All over this area. Why are we getting earthquakes? Right here. This is part of the Cascadia subduction zone. Part of the Cascadia subduction zone. It's the southernmost part of the subduction zone. Right here. I zoomed in here too far here. Let me back it out just a little bit. There we go. Right here where we see 3 earthquake faults. The one going straight up is the Cascadia subduction zone area itself. The subduction zone. Down here going out to the left is an earthquake fault called the Gorda Escarpment. It runs straight out into the middle of the Pacific Ocean. This one coming off of this triple junction area is called the San Andreas Fault. This is the northernmost part of the San Andreas Fault. Okay? There have been probably 10 earthquakes here in this same area within the past 10 years. 10 earthquakes. Most of these 6s and 7s. I'm going to talk about this tomorrow night as well. Going north from here today, let's show you what has happened. Okay? Going up north between the Cascadia subduction zone and the Oregon coast, we have a minor 2.3 magnitude earthquake. Not a big deal. It's not a powerful earthquake at all. It's just a minor earthquake just off the coast of Oregon. However, out here they took this earthquake down. This was a 3.2 earthquake right here. This is on the Blanco fracture zone off the coast of Bandon, Oregon. A 3.2 earthquake here. I don't know why they took it down. It was just here a half hour ago. Okay? But they took it down. Too bad for them. Okay? We're going up north. This is usually Cascadia Monday. Okay? Let's go up north. This is Mount St. Helens. Mount St. Helens. Guess what they got this at? This is over on the southwestern flank of Mount St. Helens. It's a surface quake. Really? A surface quake. It's nearly a mile deep. It's a mile deep. This is inside the volcano. It's not a surface quake. It's down inside the volcano. It's unreal. They call it a surface quake? No. Heck no. I swear, guys, if it wasn't for stupidity, there would be no smarts at all. Okay? Now, just northwest of Mount St. Helens, what do we have here? Yes, this is one of those yield signs. Those yield signs. What do we have here, guys? Okay? This is near Mossy Rock, Washington. Mossy Rock, Washington. They call this an explosion, folks. An explosion. Look where it's at. There's no way in heck that this is an explosion. It's right in the middle of a commercial/residential zone. There's no way in heck that this is possibly an explosion, let alone a 1.3 explosion. It's a quarter of a mile deep. A quarter of a mile deep. And they call it an explosion. Okay? Look where it's right near. Look where it's near. What is that? Can anybody tell me what that is? It's a great big huge lake. A great big huge lake. There's no way that that's an explosion. Sorry guys, USGS just kicked themselves in the teeth there as well. Over here is Mount Rainier. This is on the northern flank of Mount Rainier. Okay? Northern flank of Mount Rainier. This is a 0.2 folks. This is a 0.2 microquake. Sorry, my sinuses are draining. Allergies. This is 0.2 microquake. What is happening here? They're trying to tell us that that's the only thing happening out here at Mount Rainier. I'm going to show you tomorrow seismograms from today. This place has had 2.2, upwards of 2.5 magnitude earthquakes here today, as well as a ton of tremors. And they're passing this off as a microquake on the north side of Mount Rainier? Really? There's a lot bigger fish here than that. I'm so surprised that they tried giving us this. I'm so surprised. Okay? They have nothing better to do. Over here to the northeast, okay? 1.0 earthquake tremor Chelan Falls, Washington, or Chelan Falls, Washington. This, folks, is 2 miles deep. It's a tremor 2 miles deep. Then we go a little bit north and west, and then we have what they call another explosion. Another explosion over here in Swede Heaven, Washington. We've had earthquakes in this area all the time. Earthquakes all over Swede Heaven, Washington all the time. Okay? Swede Heaven, Washington is right here. Okay? That's Swede Heaven. Just to the north of there. Okay? I'm zooming in. I want to look. Actually, I've already looked today. Okay? This is in the middle of a forested area. A 1.4 explosion in the middle of a forested area. What's that tell me? I love this. Spontaneous, combustus, carnivorous. Exploding tree. An exploding tree here. This is over a 1/4 mile deep, almost a 1/2 mile deep. It's not an explosion. There's no quarries or anything here. What are they trying to do? Down a bunch of trees by taking an explosive down almost a 1/2 mile deep? No, they're not. How stupid are they? You know, no, I'm going to shut up. I'm just going to shut up. There's earthquakes and tremors all over this area of southern or southwestern British Columbia. There's earthquakes over here as well, here in southeastern Alaska. This is Elfin Cove, Alaska, a 2.6 minor earthquake here. Over here in the Gulf of Alaska, we have a 3.4 here. This is primarily where I see another 6 here. Remember that other 6 over at Kamchatka Peninsula? I fully expect that seismic energy to move over here through the Aleutian Islands, over here into the Rat Islands. Okay? The Rat Islands here, a 3.7 earthquake here today. I fully expect to see at least a 5 here. Going east, okay? This is 99 kilometers west of Adak, a 2.9. A 2.9. Okay, this whole area here in the peninsula could get hit by something towards a very strong 6 earthquake. 6.0 to 6.9 are considered to be very strong earthquakes. 5.0 to 5.9 are considered to be large earthquakes, with 5.5 to 5.9 considered to be very large. Okay? All we have here in the southern peninsula here is a 2.0. A 2.0. Just north of Kodiak Island, okay, we have a 3.7 small earthquake here. Going up here, okay, going up here, before we go further up, let's point this out here. This is near Karluk, Alaska. This is a 0.3 tremor right next to Old Ililama Volcano. Old Ililama Volcano. And right next to this is a 0.2 microquake. So we're still having earthquakes at Old Ililama Volcano. Then we go north. What do we see going north? What do you think we see going way up here? What do we see here? This is just a 1.9 tremor, 2.0 earthquake. They say this is 71 kilometers east of Port Ellsworth, Alaska. Really? How about west of Port Ellsworth? Okay. Number 1, this is just south of another volcano, Mount Redoubt Volcano. Mount Redoubt Volcano. Going further north here, here's a 0.0 surface quake. Really? 11 kilometers deep? I don't think it's a surface quake. This is a 1.5. Okay? This 1.5 is very close to Mount Redoubt. How about this earthquake here? A 0.6. They say, this is unreal, guys. They say this is 85 kilometers east-northeast of Port Ellsworth. If anything, it's west-northwest of Port Ellsworth. Okay? They don't have their direction straight. It's incredible. Further up here, this is on the north side of Mount Redoubt, a 1.4. What do we have over here? I'm going over here towards Anchorage. There's a 1.1 here. Here's a 3.8. They're calling this Southern Alaska. Folks, this is Anchorage. Now we're talking Anchorage, Alaska. Okay? A 3.8 in Anchorage. Going up here into Denali. Okay? This is a 1.1 in Denali. Going further west, this is a 1.4. And folks, this is incredible. I've talked about this before in this program. This is a 1.4 tremor. USGS calls it 57 kilometers south-southeast of Denali. No, folks, this is in Denali National Park on the west-northwest side of Denali National Park. It's nothing south-southeast. South-southeast would be way south of here, on the southern side of Denali. It's not. It's on the north side of Denali. Again, this agency doesn't know its butt from a hole in the ground. Unreal. Going up here, okay? I just looked this up for you. It's in blue. This is a 1.3 tremor. 115 kilometers deep. They're telling us it's 69 kilometers east-southeast of Denali. No, it's not. It's west-northwest of Denali. I don't know where they're getting off. They have no clue. Let's go down south here, south and east. This is Chase, Alaska 1.0. Further south, no, these two just happened. This is 1.4 near Susitna, Alaska. Okay, 6.2 miles deep, or kilometers deep. 6.2 kilometers deep. 6.2 is like 4 miles deep. Okay, 1.4 tremor. 1.4 tremor. Still up here on the northern Creighton area of Alaska, they say this is east of Cantwell. This is a 2.3 earthquake over here. Okay? Incredible. We can go further north. Okay, we can go to 1.3 over here in Two Rivers. 1.3 here. That's 14.2 kilometers deep. Over here is Minto, Alaska, a 1.2. There's nothing really further north than that today here in Alaska. Okay? What you see here in this gray area, this is the Arctic Circle here in Alaska. The Arctic Circle. Okay? Katavik, Alaska is right here. This is Katavik, Alaska. This is the North Shore oil and gas pumping grounds of Alaska right here. This is where they pump oil and gas all the time, every day, 365 days a year. Okay? All day, every day. Anyway, I've pretty much shown you the world. I've covered it rather fast. No, I've not shown you all the earthquakes going on. And we just had another earthquake here. This just barely happened. This is in southern Mexico. I've been calling for this earthquake for quite a while. This just happened. This, folks, is on land. On land here in southern Mexico. This is going to cause damage. This is going to cause damage. Yes, this is in the mountain region here in southern Mexico. This is a 5.3 magnitude earthquake here. A 5.3 magnitude earthquake here. Okay? This is going to result in damage here in Oaxaca, Mexico. Okay? There are villages all over this area. Small villages and small towns all over this area. Right here, for example. Right there. They felt this quake. This is just in the foothills southwest of that quake. Okay? There's more than that. Okay? Look at these areas here. Okay? There are people living in these villages here. Okay? This is going to result in a lot of damage and possible loss of life. Possible loss of life. Look at this, guys. There's a town right here. Okay? We're going to find out more information. This just barely happened. Okay? Just barely happened down here in southwestern Mexico. We're going to run down this story and bring you more tomorrow. Going up here, okay, this is southern Texas, a 2.8 earthquake here. Going further north, this is White City, Texas, not New Mexico. This is in Texas. This is a 2.5 earthquake here. This is in the oil and gas region over here. They're pumping oil and gas all over here. You can see the oil and gas plots here, literally all over this area. This is an oil and gas earthquake, okay? An oil and gas quake. I believe this probably is as well. Let's zoom in here and take a quick look. Won't hurt anything. Won't hurt a darn thing. Look at this. Oil and gas all over this area as well. Oil and gas all over this area as well. Look at this. Right next to an oil pump and jack right there. Right next to a pump and jack right there. That's what happens when you drill into the crust of the earth. Seismic energy seeks out that drill point. It's a man-made earthquake fault. When seismic energy hits it, it fractures a rock, causing an earthquake, causing the earth to shake. This is a 2.5, it's not either 2.5. This is a 2.8 magnitude earthquake down here in southern Texas. Okay? A 2.8 oil and gas quake over there. Okay? That's what's happened here. Now, I've got more or bigger fish to fry than just earthquakes today. Okay? There's a couple other things we need to talk about. Okay? The first off, the biggest story of the day. Okay? We talked about this last week and the week before. Okay? It's unreal. What do you think is going on? Does anybody have any kind of clue exactly what is going on with President Trump? He entered New York City at approximately 3:45 this afternoon. He flew into LaGuardia Airport in New York. Let me play for you the story about President Trump tonight.
Former president arrives at Trump Tower ahead of arraignment. New York former President Donald Trump waved to supporters on April 3rd before entering his namesake tower in New York City, where he will spend the night before his arraignment on April 4th, when charges from a grand jury indictment will be unsealed. Trump walked into the building through a side door on 56th Street, away from the throngs of reporters and dozens of supporters waiting for him at the main entrances. 3 black helicopters hovered over the building ahead of his arrival at the 58-story skyscraper, where his motorcade pulled up not long after 4 p.m. local time. Stephanie Liu, a Chinese American, was among a small group of Trump supporters who waved U.S. flags and chanted "We love Trump" as the former president walked by with his son Eric Trump. She said she felt excited for the chance to express her support. "At least he saw us waving the flags," she told the Epoch Times. "We love him so much, because he's fighting for our country." Trump faces charges relating to the payment of hush money to adult film actress Stormy Daniels during the 2016 presidential campaign. Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg is expected to bring charges alleging that Trump illegally classified the payment in violation of federal campaign finance laws. Trump has denied all wrongdoing in the matter. Security has ramped up near the tower and the Manhattan Supreme Court ahead of the April 4th arraignment, with police erecting metal barriers and blocking access to part of the courthouse in Lower Manhattan where court proceedings are set to take place. During the course of the afternoon, drivers of several black vans passing by beat their car horns to signal support for Trump, eliciting cheers from the crowd. At one point, a driver of a truck shouted obscenities directed at the former president, prompting supporters to shout back, "We love Trump." Paul Ingrassia, a member of the New York Young Republican Club who was showing his support outside Trump Tower, dismissed the charges against Trump as bogus and said that he hopes his presence could help show that Donald Trump still has supporters, even in the most liberal part of the country. Echoing some political analysts, Ingrassia believes the indictment is only going to give Trump a boost in the 2024 presidential race, noting that Trump was able to raise $4 million within 24 hours after the indictment was reported. New York City Mayor Eric Adams, a Democrat, has urged people who are planning to travel to the city to protest to exercise control and be on your best behavior. "While there may be some rabble-rousers thinking about coming to our city tomorrow, our message is clear and simple: control yourselves," Adams said on April 3rd. "New York City is our home, not a playground for your misplaced anger." Karen Lichtbraun, a 62-year-old preschool teacher in New York, rebuffed Adams's warning, pointing to the rising crime rate in the city. "Why doesn't he tell the people on the streets who are shooting up our city to behave themselves? We're not violent, we protest peacefully," Lichtbraun, another supporter outside Trump's Manhattan residence, told the Epoch Times. "The city is going up in flames, and he tells MAGA supporters to behave?" Lichtbraun, who is Jewish, said she was especially appreciative of Trump's pro-Israel policy during his presidency. Meanwhile, Robert Hotzen was among a handful of counter-protesters waiting near Trump Tower. He was toting signs reading "Lock him up and throw away the key," a reference to the "Lock her up" chant that Trump helped popularize during the 2016 presidential campaign, which focused on Democrat rival Hillary Clinton's handling of classified information. "We've got to neutralize him to the point where he can have no part in any determination of American policy ever again," he said. Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene is set to host a pro-Trump rally at a park near the Manhattan courthouse on the morning of April 4th. Ingrassia, who is attending, thinks it will have a large turnout. "I'm sure many other supporters will be coming out from across not just New York State, but really across the country," he said. "They're going to be coming out to rally on behalf of President Trump and show that his base is strong, and we're behind him."
Okay, that's what's going on in New York. Senator Greene is going to be there. There are other senators and congressmen that are also going to be there to support President Trump. The first thing that President Trump's attorneys are going to do is to file a dismissal. They're going to file for dismissal of the case. Yes, we have not heard the entire indictment. Supposedly there are 30 different charges against President Trump. We don't know. We don't know. We'll see tomorrow. But at this point in time, his attorneys are going to file not guilty and file for a dismissal. Any of the charges that they can possibly come up with are also beyond the statute of limitations. Beyond the statute of limitation. In many cases, almost every one of those charges we're going to find it's 4 to 5 years past the statute of limitations. Mr. Bragg, the DA over there, is trying to make a misdemeanor a felony. As I explained to a gentleman earlier today, that you cannot do. You cannot take a state charge and make it a felony, just like you cannot make a federal charge a felony in New York. You can't do it. The Department of Justice went after Trump for 6 years now, actually 7 years, because they started going after him as soon as he announced his run for election in 2015. He won in 2016 and they kept after him. The DOJ, the Department of Justice, dropped all charges they had. Hillary Clinton, she went and paid for the Steele dossier, which was falsely done. Big, huge dossier full of false allegations. Russian hoax also got thrown in the trash. And yet they're still going after the President of the United States. Yes, he's a former president. He's still the president. They should knock this crap off. If anything, this is going to end Bragg's career and may possibly even put him in jail himself. We'll see after tomorrow. One other thing that I want to talk about tonight, and then we're going to get out of here. I know all of you have better things than to listen to me tonight. Okay? I know you do. Hold on a second. I know you have a lot better things than to listen to me tonight, but there's one more story that I have to tell tonight. Okay? This was a story of a huge disaster in Montana. Huge disaster in Montana. Let me enlarge this for you so you know what's going on. There was a huge train derailment. Huge train derailment. You can see it here. The tracks became twisted when the train cars started coming off the tracks. You really can't see the tracks in this particular photo. Let me see if we can enlarge it some more. See, the tracks are gone. There's no more track left. You can see a piece of steel rail there bent and pushed out to the left in this particular photo. You see several train cars in the river as well. Okay? I understand that there may be a leak of a chemical or two chemicals from that derailment up here in Montana yesterday. Okay? This is also a big deal. Okay? This is always a huge deal. This is just the latest of any train derailments here in the United States. Last week we had one in California, a coal train, and I showed you pictures of that all over the landscape. Gray coal scattered everywhere. Okay? This, folks, is another freight train. Derailed. I'm going to make a statement here, and I am hoping that the train companies, or anyway a representative of the train companies, are going to hear me. I've been around rails my entire life. My grandfathers worked for the railroads, one for UP and another one for Atchison, Topeka, Santa Fe. All of you guys, every one of you, coast to coast, north to south, you need to get off your butts. You need to get off your butts and put out some money. Instead of paying yourself bonuses, put out some money and get these rails repaired. Hire some people, train them, and put out your maintenance of way people to fix these tracks. Also, you need to hire enough people to make sure these cars are right. Make sure the trucks and the wheels are right on these cars before you send them out on the rail. Okay? We've had far more derailments this year already than we have had in previous years. I did that story last week as well. This is still a big deal. Okay? Guys, fix your rails. Hire some people instead of paying yourself some stupid butthead thousands of dollar bonuses. Stop it. This is going to help bankrupt yourselves and bankrupt America. You can't be doing this. America is suffering. Get off your butts. If you want to haul product for America's citizens, get off your butts and fix your trains. You complained about aircraft taking over the baggage, taking aircraft and hauling freight with the aircraft to various towns and cities and on boats and huge ships. If you don't like it, make sure your trains are on track. Make sure you're doing your frickin' jobs. Safety is first. Safety is first. That's the way it is. Looking over in the chat, Demon Catman said the same thing. Safety first. And by the way, folks, guess what? Demon Catman sent me a great email. I just opened it this afternoon. Demon Catman has some pictures that I'm going to show you tomorrow evening of Mount St. Helens. Some great pictures. Thank you, Demon Catman. God bless you, brother. You're awesome. You're awesome. Anyway, guys, do you have any questions about anything that I've talked about? Okay? I wanted to make sure that we at least came on the air. We had a hard time coming on the air because of internet problems here in this area. I promise that won't continue happening. Okay? It's not going to continue happening. We have a few storms going through here right now. There are cloudy skies here. Last night was partly cloudy. Beautiful evening. Beautiful evening last night. 70 degrees at 10 o'clock last night. It got down to about 50s last night. It was nice. Great sleeping weather. Even had the window open for a while. For most of the night, I should say. Anyway, that's what's going on, guys. I hear that my old hangout in Utah is getting snow. Okay? 2 feet here, 2 feet there, 2 inches here, 2 inches there. The ski resorts can't even stay open because they've had so much snow. And there's also avalanche danger because of the snow in all the mountains in California and Utah. The entire Sierra area has been pretty much off limits to skiers because there's been so much snow. 10 to 15 feet of snow in many areas. Up in Utah, 10 feet of snow in mountain areas that hardly had any snow in years past. They were begging for snow and now they got buried. The Great Salt Lake, guess what? They were saying it was drying up. It's not going to dry up anymore. It's increasing again. They're not in a drought anymore. I don't think anybody is in a drought regardless of what the Democrat communists say. Okay? Yes, Don Patoka says roofs are caving in. Roofs are caving in all over the place. Literally. We've shown pictures of it. Anyway, guys, I hope you have a great night. I appreciate you all being here. Okay? I really do. Please be safe out there. Storms are crossing the country now. Over in Oklahoma and Nebraska, Ohio, Indiana, and points east and north. And it's also coming from the south. Alabama. And I'm even going to say Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, and even Tennessee, going up into Mississippi and Alabama and Georgia, and over into northern Florida. It's getting hit. Getting hit. All that storm activity is either going north or east. North or east. Okay? The northeastern United States is going to get crapped on either by snow or rain this week. It's going to get hit. There's going to be tornadoes in the Midwest and in the east tomorrow. Everybody needs to batten down the hatches and pray. You need to pay attention to the storm warnings. If you get a tornado warning, go and seek shelter immediately. If there's a tornado watch, get prepared that you may need to seek shelter. Go to the innermost part of your house away from windows. Stay away from windows. Throw a mattress, bed mattress over the top of you to keep you safe. That's the best thing you could possibly do. Okay? Anyway, guys, I hope you have a good night and a better tomorrow. We will be back here tomorrow evening, God willing, to put on another program to talk about great things and things we need to be aware of. Okay? I hope you have a great night and a better tomorrow, like I said. Guys, God bless you. God be with you. That's always been my answer for everybody. God be with you till we meet again. I hope to see you tomorrow evening between 6 and 7 p.m. on this same place, same bat channel. Have a great night, guys. God bless till we meet again. We will see you soon. Good night.